Hey everybody, welcome to Play Like a Jet Zone live here from the Play Like a Jet Zone studios here. Yeah, let's get a beautiful look at that. So you see all this Halloween decorations from my fiance. She is a huge fan of Halloween. We're going to get started here in just a minute on Play Like a Jet Zone as we're sharing our YouTube live stream, which is a healthy reminder, by the way, that you guys should make sure that you join in on the YouTube live chats. Our most active one was a couple weeks ago on that Thursday game for the Jets Broncos. So make sure that you guys get involved in the comments. We'd really appreciate that. You can ask questions, share your thoughts, anything you'd like. So make sure that again you jump in the YouTube live chat. I'll have that up as we're kind of going through this pregame show here. So we'd really appreciate it. So again, your comments, questions, whatever you'd like. We're going to do a full Jets Dolphins preview for the game. We'll also be talking about the NFL trade deadline, which is rapidly coming up. I believe that's coming up on November 3rd. So you can make sure to be ready for that. It looks like the Jets could certainly be sellers. Don't think they'll be buyers at 0-5, so they could be sellers. We'll talk about which players certainly could be on the move here in just a few minutes. So again, make sure that you join us in the YouTube live chat for that. That's where I'll see all the comments as we're going through the show. First off, I want to give a couple of shout-outs. This banner you see behind me for Play Like a Jets was made by El Chapo of Flags. You can find that on Facebook if you just search out El Chapo of Flags. And make sure you like, subscribe. I support local businesses. Support me. Also, hit the subscribe button and like this video if you'd like and show your support. I'd really appreciate that as well. And thank you so much to everybody. This has been a brand new project. I really appreciate everybody showing their support so far. It's been a lot of fun for me. This has been fantastic. And I hope this is something we could do in the future as well. And future seasons, maybe big things like the draft or free agency coming up. I'd love to do even more content. It's just, like I said, it's just been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed doing this. And as we're kind of progressing through doing these YouTube live shows, you're going to see the quality increase in every measure. The very first show, you can check out all the previous episodes as well, dating back all the way to week 1, Jets-Bills. Originally, we didn't even have this banner here. Then we got a banner upgrade, which has been great. You see the new lighting, which is a brand new ring light, which is cool for the podcast as well. That is here. We're also going to have a brand new mic coming in as well, so the audio is going to be top-notch, lighting top-notch, banner top-notch. It's just fantastic, all the support that you guys have been sending in. So in just a few minutes, we're going to start previewing, again, this Jets-Dolphins game. And I'll be honest, kind of here as I'm just talking and sharing the stream, is that this is the most winnable game on the schedule for the Jets. Quite frankly, if you really want to pick one, I guess you could say the Jets-Dolphins game that's a home game. The Jets are on the road today with kickoff set for 4:05. They'll be one of the 2 later games on the docket. But quite honestly, this could be the most winnable game on the schedule. And I don't even say that with a lot of confidence because – it is only that way kind of by default, to be honest with you, because the Jets have games against teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Patriots twice. They still have not played the Patriots yet so far this season. And there's the Seahawks, that Jamal Adams revenge game. Again, there's like a million games that are coming up here on the docket that are going to just be brutal. There's no other way to put it. I can't even imagine what that line's going to be for the Jets-Chiefs game. It's just been tough to watch, but you know what? I'm glad that we're here every day, and I just saw someone tweet this out before the show, and I retweeted it. You can follow me on all social media at BoyGreene25, B-O-Y, Green the color 25. And I'll tell you guys that basically the question asked, it kind of prompted saying, hey, do you still wear your Jets gear every Sunday or Monday or Thursday or whatever it is, or are you too ashamed? And to me, while obviously we would like to be talking about a winning football team, this team has yet to find a win so far in the season. To me, there's no question. If you are a diehard fan, and that's all I am, I don't pretend to be a Yeah, for instance, there's this guy that I know that is a Steelers fan, but he's not a diehard, so he doesn't like watch every game. To me, what else can you be? There's only one way to be, and one way to be is a diehard fan. Of course, I wear my gear every day. I try to mix it up. I got, it's a weird flex. I got so much Jet stuff. I try to wear a different thing. This is from the draft from a couple years ago. My birthday's on the draft. But anywho, there's only one way to be, and that is a diehard fan. So let's dive right into this preview. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Appreciate all the support that we've had so far. And again, festive with some Halloween decorations as well. We've got Jets Dolphins today. Again, this is the most winnable game on the Jets schedule. Again, the only other game you could argue is that home game against the Dolphins, which will be coming up after that bye. Actually, that'll be, I believe, now week 12 will be that Jets game. Because, again, there's schedule changes. Let me start off the show with that. We were supposed to be previewing the Jets-Chargers game today. That did not happen. Instead, the Chargers have a bye week this week. The NFL COVID protocol is going all over the place. There are two schedule changes for the Jets. They play the Dolphins today, which, again, was supposed to be coming up later in the season, week 10, and then the bye week 11, and then the Dolphins again in week 12. That will not happen. They're playing the Dolphins today. The Jets-Chargers game moves to week 11, and the Jets bye week moves ahead a week. Now, the only reason that could matter for you Jet fans out there is, of course, because Adam Gase could be fired a week earlier. So maybe that works out for everybody. But nonetheless, the Jets are 0-5 right now. There's not a lot to root for because there hasn't been a win. We haven't been able to talk about a win in our post-game show, which, by the way, is a healthy reminder. This is Play Like a Jet Zone, your weekly stop for New York Jets pre- and post-game coverage. Live right before the game, usually every week, game day at 12 o'clock. The only other change for that will be the Jets-Patriots Monday Night Football game coming up in a couple of weeks in early November. That will be Monday night. But every other pregame show is at noon, so make sure you stop here and hit that bell notification so you get all the latest details. So let's dive right into this. Again, this is the most winnable game on the Jets schedule, and it is Jets-Dolphins. But again, I don't even say with the most confidence because Ryan Fitzpatrick, as Jet fans know, is a very streaky quarterback. He can be hot. He can be cold. It really just depends on the moment. And recently, right now, he's hot. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been lighting teams up, especially the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm not a math guy, and I was told there'd be no math involved on this pregame show. But the 49ers beat the Jets like 36-6 or whatever that score was, or 36-13. I think the Jets got a garbage touchdown to Braxton Berrios at the end. Like, they got annihilated. Okay, so A plus B equals C. Jets got their ass beat by the 49ers, so the Jets stink. 49ers get their ass beat by the Miami Dolphins. A plus B equals C. Jets, Dolphins. I don't know what that means. And obviously it means nothing because there are other teams that have blown out teams and then come back around. But nonetheless, the Dolphins are red hot. They just beat the crap out of the 49ers. The Jets lost because they got the crap beaten out of them by the 49ers. So that means the Dolphins might beat the crap out of the Jets. Again, A plus B equals C. Math, this or that. I don't know what any of that means, but this is what I will tell you. The Dolphins are red hot right now. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick. They have a coach they believe in, and Brian Flores. The Dolphins have a lot going for them. And also, here's another nugget that's interesting with the Jets-Dolphins game moving a little bit earlier on the schedule is later in the season, there's a greater chance of Tua time, the heralded rookie quarterback from Alabama. And the way that all the rookie quarterbacks have been playing so far this season, guys like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert has been terrific for the Chargers. The Jets would have played him this upcoming week. But here's the key, is that playing the Dolphins now, you don't play Tua, but you play red-hot Ryan Fitzpatrick. So take that for what you will. And so this is going to be a stiff challenge for the New York Jets. I also want to give one more shout-out to our other sponsor before we get too deep here on the show, and it is a local delicacy. Greene's Oswego award-winning chicken wing sauce can be yours. Now, you may not know what that is because this is the internet, and you can listen and watch this show from anywhere. But here's the thing. This local sponsor can ship wing sauces to you, so make sure that you get involved. They have a lot of delicious wing sauces, Louisiana Lightning, Garlic Parmesan, Bee Sting, El Diablo. For more information, hit up the description of this YouTube channel for there. Hey, Joe Branham, jumping in the YouTube live chat. You guys can too as well, so make sure you join in and drop those questions in there. I'd really appreciate it. Now, I will say this. I do want to give a quick shout-out to Joe. He's got a beautiful studio. I saw the picture. Sheriff Joe Baggs, Ram Showcase. Follow them for all the Ram stuff. This YouTube show is nothing like that one. He's got cool graphics and a great studio. But this is what we have, so I hope you enjoy it. But make sure you check out his stuff. You got awesome content. But let's jump. We will jump into that question in just a second. But for that wing sauce, I do just want to give one quick shout out. They're back for limited time. Text 315-406-8081. Again, 315-406-8081 for more information. They ship those wing sauces all across the planet. So make sure you dive in on that. Again, support local businesses during these trying times. Let's bring up that question, Joe. I was going to talk about it a little bit later, but let's bring it up now. And his question is on the YouTube live chat where you guys can ask your questions as well. Any truth to tanking for Trevor? There's absolute truth to the thought that if the Jets were in a position to draft Trevor Lawrence, they would. I know we've talked about it over the weeks because I am a huge Sam Darnold guy. But right now, we are not seeing Sam Darnold today. That's part of the injury report. We will see Joe Flacco for the second straight start for the New York Jets. By the way, the Jets are 0-7 when Sam Darnold has not started games for the Jets during his career. Again, we're in the midst of year number 3 right now. So Jets have not won a game without Sam Darnold. So that doesn't look good. Also, Sam Darnold, in theory, also the other thing that stat says is that the Jets haven't had a competent backup. Joe Flacco's been the most competent backup, but he hadn't played in over a year with the Denver Broncos, where Joe's from there in Colorado, since the previous year. So there was a lot of rust last week as well for Joe Flacco. So Sam Darnold is not going to appear in this game. Joe Flacco will get the start. So the Jets potentially could be 0-8 in games that Darnold has not played in, which obviously speaks a lot to that. Yeah, here's the thing, and we're going to get into all kinds of facets of this question. First off, the Jets are looking to avoid their first 0-6 start since 1996. They've been 0-6 twice before in franchise history. That was 1996 and 1965. They've also lost 4 straight road games to the Miami Dolphins, and that's where they're playing today. To address the question, Joe, is like addressing a million questions. Are they tanking for Trevor? No, this team just sucks. So they're not tanking for anything. There are 3 winless teams in football: the Jets, the Giants, the Falcons. Here's my honest take, unbiased. The Falcons are too good to go 0-16. We've only seen 2 0-16 teams in NFL history: the Detroit Lions, the Cleveland Browns. There's no way we're going to have multiple 0-16 teams. That is too prisoner of the moment. We're too early in the season. The Falcons are too good. They got Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley. We're going to see Raheem Morris, who used to be the head coach of the Buccaneers way back in the day, running the ship. You usually see a little bit of pop with interim coaches. Again, their record isn't overwhelmingly great. They're about 500 basically over the last decade, that being interim coaches who step in during those opportunities. So the Falcons are going to stumble into a win, 2-win, 3-win, 4-win, in my opinion. I think they're too talented not to, and they're going to have games on the schedule where that presents itself. Same thing for the Giants. As bad as the Giants are, look at their games. In almost every game, they've been competitive. The 49ers game, they got blown out, but every other game they were close with. And there are some good teams in there, the Rams, the Cowboys, and a couple others. So I think the Giants are going to find a win. The Jets, I'm not kidding. I've looked at the schedule, and I claim to be an eternal optimist. I don't see where a win is. They play the Chiefs. They play the Bills. They play the Patriots twice. They play the Seahawks. They play the Joe's Rams. That'll be fun in a couple of weeks. That's near the end of the season. But I'm going through this, and the only winnable games, and again, I don't feel great about it, are the 2 Dolphins games. This one on the road, which, again, don't feel great about. The Dolphins are red hot. And then they play at home against the Dolphins later. That's it. The other ones all look like L's. So the tanking for Trevor talk is real in terms of they could really be 0-16. I'm not kidding. That's how bad this team is. They're not competitive. They have a minus 83 or minus 86 point differential. They've lost every game by at least 9 points. They are not playing close. Like, if it's competitive, we're like, oh, wow, they didn't win, but they were at least in it. No, I can't. No joke. The Jets have not been in any game. They have not been in it. So the tanking talk is real. The Jets have the number 1 pick. I have completely sold the fact that the Jets would trade it for some massive haul to rebuild around Sam Darnold. And here's the thing. Sam Darnold, what is it? So we're getting in week 6 now, 16 weeks in a season. Like, there are now 9 games left because he's not playing today. You have 9 games left to determine whether Sam Darnold is the guy. Every game he doesn't play is more cloud and murkiness around his future, whether he'll be here or not. The thing that I will say is an uncomfortable conversation I had on my podcast, The Jet Zone, every Wednesday. Make sure you download and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. But here's the thing. If the Jets have the number 1 pick, what's really probably going to happen is the Jets draft Trevor Lawrence and they move Sam Darnold a la Josh Rosen. And I believe they could get a late first for Darnold. Now, a lot of people don't think so. Josh Rosen got a 2 and a 5, and he showed nothing. Absolutely nada. Okay? Josh Rosen showed 0. Nothing. Actually, he showed negative. Like, he sucked. So if he could get a 2 and a 5, why the hell could Darnold not get a late 1? I'm not talking anything crazy here. I'm just saying a late 1. How does that not make any sense? Anywho, I digress. But to answer the question, yeah, I think there is truth to Trevor taking for talk because Trevor Lawrence. So Adam Gase, let's also clarify this because I will address this later. But Adam Gase will not be the head coach of this football team unless the Jets go on a miracle run, right? They're 0-5 right now. If they somehow go 11-5, 10-6, 9-7, 8-8, like some crazy second half run like last year, maybe Gase stays. I don't think so. Brian Miller, a Fin Fanatic, talked about that with me on the Jet Zone podcast. But no, I don't think so. So if the Jets are 0 wins, 1 win, 2 win, 3 win, Adam Gase does not survive in my mind. There's no way you could rationalize him surviving that. So with that being the case, if the Jets have the number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence is obviously very intriguing. That would be an attractive piece of the Jets' job. They have draft picks, 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years. The potential number 1 pick, which would be Trevor Lawrence. They have cap space. There's a lot of sexy things that a potential head coach would be interested in, thus making the Jets' job a bit more attractive than what you would originally think. And to your second comment, Joe, if I was Darnold, I'd do everything I could to run the draft position. You would, but not even for that mindset. Because if you're Darnold, not only are you trying to win football games for yourself, but if you're Darnold, if you keep the Jets out of the number 1 pick conversation, I don't think Jets go quarterback. I think the Jets will go Trevor Lawrence if they have the number 1 pick. But if they have 2, 3, 4, I don't think they go for Trey Lance. I don't think they go for Justin Fields. Like, Trevor Lawrence is such a once-in-a-generation talent who, by the way, so far this season has 19 touchdowns to 1 interception, and he plays my Syracuse Orange next week. Yike-a-roonies. By the way, my Syracuse Orange for next week's game are 37.5-point underdogs. 37.5 points! I mean, I've seen some bad football with the Jets this year, but that's going to be bad next weekend. Anywho, Jets podcast. Jets video live pregame show. So let me digress. But if you're Darnold, of course you want to disrupt that because if the Jets don't end up with the number 1 pick, Darnold wins them a couple games late, they're going to stick with Darnold and they're just going to build around them. That's what I think the plan is. It's either door number 1 or door number 2. Door number 1, number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence, rebuild, rebrand, trade away Darnold, make a whole new thing. Door number 2, I believe they get someone that will help Darnold. Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. Jamar Chase, wide receiver LSU, something to help out Darnold, either offensive line or offense, to help a brother out. I think those are the 2 doors. Those are the 2 options here for the New York Jets. Also, anyone just joining us, make sure you drop your questions and comments in the YouTube live chat below, depending on your screen size. It'll show up here or there. And make sure you drop in any questions you like. Also, if you're watching us right now, and if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel, so I'd really appreciate it. We're going to do a lot more cool content in the future, including giveaways. Gift, if that wasn't enough before. But thanks for the couple questions, Joe. But Tank for Trevor is 100% on. Again, we'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. Let's quickly get to the injury report for the New York Jets. A couple of guys activated off IR. Vincent Smith, hello, welcome back. Also, Blake Cashman from IR. Let's just talk about a couple of those. Blake Cashman has had some highs and lows. Certainly this season's been like non-existent. He got hurt early in the Buffalo game, so he's coming back. He brings speed to the linebacking core, and that's a big thing because the Jets have a lot of slow-ass linebackers. Alec Ogletree, although they released him, they brought him in for a couple of games. He's like a sloth out there. Avery Williamson coming back from injury. He doesn't have elite speed by any means. I love Neville Hewitt. He's been on our show before. But Blake Cashman brings elite speed to the table. Now, if he can round out the rest of his game, Jets could have something at linebacker. But I'll tell you this. Blake Cashman brings speed. And speaking of speed, Vincent Smith's got some 4.3, 4.4 speed at wide receiver. They got Jamison Crowder, who, by the way, leads the NFL in receiving yards per game with over 111 yards receiving per game. Every game he's played, he's got over 100 yards. So Fantasy alert. Woo, 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 woo. So mark that down for all you fantasy fans out there. Say, Jets, I don't want any of those guys. Jamison Crowder has been a revelation. Vincent Smith brings speed to the table. The Jets coaching staff, people inside that building were really high on his potential upside. And he's not the only receiver coming back. Rashad Perriman expected back today as well. Another guy who's bringing that 4.3 speed to the table. He was the guy who was supposed to replace Robbie Anderson. He's been non-existent because of injuries, which honestly has plagued his entire career. So there will be some weapons for Joe Flacco. By the way, Joe Flacco, Rashad Perriman used to be teammates on the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl over there. Rashad Perriman was a first-round pick. Obviously, Perriman busted out, had a nice pop with Tampa last year, which got him here to the Jets. And then Joe Flacco, again, that Super Bowl and the credentials and being experienced, one of the better backup quarterbacks the Jets have had in a long time. So maybe we'll reignite that connection today with Flacco and Perriman, which means I gave you the good news. Vincent Smith back, great. Blake Cashman back, great. Also, Mike White was promoted from the practice squad. That is QB2 for this game. But bad news, no Sam Darnold. He's out for the second straight game. Sam Darnold has an AC joint sprain in his shoulder. He is expected back potentially next week. They seemed optimistic about that. Potentially the same thing for Mekhi Becton. But here's the thing. That's the big part of this. Is the reason to be excited as a Jets fan to watch some of these games is, hey, look, Sam Darnold. Wow, let's see what he's got. Or Mekhi Becton. Wow, finally a first-round pick that seems like a home run. And those guys, both appear like they're going to be out for this game. Real tough. Mekhi Becton, this is a guy who has an incredibly high floor and high ceiling. A guy that, quite frankly, has just lived up to the billing. He's been terrific. The Jets did a stupid thing by playing him in that Broncos game when they shouldn't as an emergency backup. But now he's suffering the consequences, missing a couple of games. No Darnold, so you have Joe Flacco. Now, I'll give you a positive note about Joe Flacco. He is 6-0 in his career against the Miami Dolphins. Now, that wasn't with the Jets, obviously, but an interesting nugget to keep in mind. Not sure if that's going to matter, but again, these are the most winnable games on the schedule. Can't say that enough for the New York Jets in this one. There are some storylines beyond the game. We'll get back into the game in a second. We're officially on Adam Gase watch. We have been basically since he was hired. I didn't love the hire to begin with. The team is 0-5. And quite frankly, the schedule looks brutal for the New York Jets coming up, and we've already talked about that. Again, this Dolphins game looks like the most winnable, but that's even questionable. The team is starting to fracture. Of course, the big news this week is the Jets say, you know what, Le'Veon Bell liking a couple of tweets after the game last week for not being used properly and maybe getting a trade. So Jets say, you know what, let's try to trade the guy. They called every team in the league. They called Joe's Rams. They called the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Steelers. I mean, they called everyone and said, hey, you want Le'Veon? Let's kind of hammer out a deal. And this is how bad it was. The Jets were willing to pay most of the contract if they could just get something back. A seventh, a sixth, a fifth, a something. And the Jets couldn't find a partner to tango with, and they end up straight up releasing him. But how bad does this look, right? A guy that you signed to a 4-year, $50+ million deal. I loved it at the time. I was like, great, an all-pro talent on this offense. Finally, Sam Darnold getting some talent, getting someone to help a brother out. And then he gets released. Now, I think the failures on both parties, obviously the play calling sucked. Obviously the offensive line wasn't as great as Le'Veon Bell was used to in Pittsburgh. And then Le'Veon obviously lost a step. But I don't think that is what we should hone in on. I think it was the lack of creativity from Adam Gase. And here's what's going to make him look like an idiot. So this week, Adam Gase caused a lot of headlines by saying, when he was asked, hey, what do you think about how you've misused Le'Veon Bell? And he says, it's irrelevant. Doesn't matter anymore, does it? He's just kind of this arrogant prick. He's got this massive ego, that being Adam Gase. And he's like, you know what? It's irrelevant. I don't have to talk about Le'Veon. He's not on this team anymore. But how funny is this? The winless Jets couldn't find a place for Le'Veon Bell on the team. Sorry, you don't fit with what we got. But the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the favorites to win the Super Bowl, say, I think we can find a spot for you. How inept are the New York Jets for that to be the case? Again, I get it for the Jets. They're winless. What are you going to do with Le'Veon Bell anyway? But your talent got worse. You kicked off a talented player on the team. And now, hopefully, you give that rock to Michael Pirine, the 4th-round rookie, because I'd love to see what he has over the 37-year-old Frank Gore, who obviously is not a part of your future. But the Chiefs picked up Le'Veon Bell. The Jets will see him and the Chiefs in a couple of weeks, and just mark it up now. Le'Veon Bell's going to have 400 yards rushing, and he's going to be used creatively all over the field. They're just going to really rub it in Adam Gase's face that, yeah, you're an idiot and you don't know how to use Le'Veon Bell. And here's the thing on the Le'Veon Bell thing that I do want to talk about. So we heard rumors that Adam Gase didn't want him, right? Mike McCagnon, and this is an important note for all you Jet fans out there, don't look beyond the headline. Joe Douglas is not responsible for Le'Veon Bell, folks. He didn't sign him. He got hired a couple weeks after Le'Veon Bell. The ink was dry. So I want to make that clear because a lot of people seem to be blaming Joe Douglas for that. He's not absolved of all blame. He obviously did the stupid Robbie Anderson thing, betting on Rashad Perriman being a cheaper version of him. That's miserably. Perriman has been non-existent. We'll see what he has today. Anderson has been a superstar with the Panthers. So Joe Douglas has made mistakes. Ryan Khalil, bringing that dude off the couch. That sucked. Off this couch, okay? So, again, he's not absolved of all blame, but he doesn't deserve blame for the Le'Veon Bell situation. But here's the thing that bothers me about Adam Gase versus Le'Veon Bell. Adam Gase apparently didn't want Le'Veon Bell. Okay, fine. You didn't want him, but he's here now. He was, at the time, when Le'Veon Bell signed, if I'm a coach, right, and I didn't want a player, but we signed him, well, I've got no choice. I just got to make it work. That's what happens. I work a couple of different jobs. I work in radio, and I do another job, right? Sometimes there's people I don't like to work with, but guess what? I don't throw a temper tantrum saying, I don't want to work with Johnny. I'm not going to work unless Johnny works. This is bullcrap. No, we're adults here. We got to work with people we don't like. So what? Suck it up, roll up the sleeves, and find a way to get it done. Adam Gase acted like a spoiled child. He got a toy that he didn't want to play. It's almost like, this is a good example, and I got to give credit to the Michael Kay show, is basically Adam Gase is a kid at Christmas. He asked for a PS5 for Christmas. He got a PS3, and he threw out a whiny fit because it wasn't the gift he wanted, so he doesn't want to play with it or doesn't want to use it. So that was the Michael Kay show earlier this week, talking about this Jet situation. Adam Gase got a toy that he didn't want, so he sabotaged the toy, went out of his way to not use the toy the way it was supposed to be used just to prove a point. Like, see, Le'Veon Bell sucks. He doesn't work. I told you I didn't want him, but he could have made it work. The fact that he was willing to sabotage that entire relationship and thus potentially the relationship with his quarterback and thus the winning or losing of a football team, what a spoiled brat. What an idiot. What a moron. And now Le'Veon Bell is going to have great success with the Kansas City Chiefs, and where are the Jets? The weird thing to me is Adam Gase continues to win these battles, right? He won the battle against Le'Veon Bell. He won the battle against Mike McCagnon. He just keeps winning these battles, and it just shows, like, what does Adam Gase have? Does he have naked pictures of Christopher Johnson? Does he have blackmail? Like, how is he, like, charismatic behind the scenes, and he's captivating and suave and kind of gets people to buy in? Like, what is it with Adam Gase that everyone, not everyone, just the people that he's tightest with at the top of ownership, he just sways them. He has some swagger about him, apparently, behind the scenes. That, to me, is fascinating. That everyone on the outside goes, wow, Adam Gase sucks. But Christopher Johnson's like, brainwashed, oh, brilliant offensive mind. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And then, like, the other thing here is Adam Gase could do that with his coaches too. Now, again, Dowell Logans and stuff are just kind of pencil pushers for him. But, like, he thought and kind of contemplated giving up play calling, saying, maybe I should give it up. Guys, what do you think? Huh? What do you think? Oh, you think I should keep it? Oh, okay, I guess I'll keep it. Like, he didn't really contemplate giving up play calling. He asked his cronies, what do they think? They're like, yeah, you're the man. You're calling all the right plays. We're not executing. It's setting up the same garbage that been feeding the players. Like, hey, players, you're just not executing my perfect game plan that perfectly could work, but you guys are idiots. That's the only reason we're losing. And the fact that Adam Gase had the arrogance at the press conference to say, guys, I don't know what you're talking about here. Everything is working perfectly. My play calling is not the real winless. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How the bloody hell does this man have a job? Honestly, I don't get it. It's frustrating. So Adam Gase is going to continue to be the guy, at least for me, through the Week 10 bye at a minimum. And quite frankly, he could be the guy the rest of the year. Now, conspiracy theory time, okay? Conspiracy theory time here says the only reason Adam Gase is still the head coach of the Jets is Jets go, guys, Adam Gase sucks. But wait, what if he sucks so bad that if we keep him as the coach, we'll get the number 1 pick? So maybe we should keep him around. Interesting. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But that's my conspiracy theory, trying to rationalize why you would keep him. Another comment here from Joe Branham. Blaming the players for not executing the, quote, perfect game plan is very Jeff Fisher. That's right. It's a Jeff Fisher thing. I don't know. But I just don't see Vinny Gasparo coming in here from a Miami fan. Thanks for taking away from us. I'll tell you, Vinny, I didn't want him. So thanks for just dropping him in, but I didn't want him. I went on my podcast, The Jet Zone, and basically when Todd Bowles got fired, I immediately went on the podcast and said, great, Todd Bowles is gone. There's only one man I don't want, Adam Gase. It could be my lawnmower. It could be my neighbor. It could be my brother, my sister. I don't give a flying hoot who's coaching the Jets. But if it's Adam Gase, I'm going to lose my marbles. And, of course, obviously, it had to be Adam Gase. So, Vinny, I don't understand. And here's the thing, Vinny, I'll tell you, on my podcast this week, Brian Miller, a Fin Fanatic, he runs a great Miami Dolphins site. I've had him on my podcast for years. He said, he warned me, basically. So I brought him on after Adam Gase is hired. I'm like, hey, rationalize this. What's going on here? And he didn't rationalize it, but he said, I'm telling you, wherever Adam Gase goes, the best players on the team leave. And he brought up Jay Ajayi and Jarvis Landry and other Dolphins players, and Tannehill ended up leaving too, and then having great success in other places. He said, watch out, because it's going to happen with the Jets. Leonard Williams gone. Again, that one's kind of a unique scenario because I think he would have been dealt anyway. But again, the point remains. Leonard Williams, right? Jamal Adams, potentially Sam Darnold. It's like bananas. It's nuts. Robbie Anderson. All these guys just leave. All the best players are just like, it's almost like the Avengers scene where he's like, Tony Stark, I don't feel so good. Blah! And all these guys are disappearing, and we're watching our Jet players go, no! Like Darnold, no! And you're gone. And this player, Robbie Anderson, no! Jamal Adams, wait, no! And all these players are like disappearing. Now, again, on the Jamal Adams things, you get 2 first-round picks, and again, cool. But again, the point is, all these players are just disappearing. So Adam Gase, what a joke. And I just wish they would have never hired him to begin with. But you're welcome, Vinny. By the way, you guys look in great hands with Brian Flores, who looks great. But yeah, Joe, back to your point. The Jeff Fisher thing. But Jeff Fisher, here's the problem. If that comparison holds true, Jeff Fisher lasted a long time going captain 8-8 or whatever he went 7-9 for like every year for a while. So he lasted a long time. So we can only hope that Adam Gase only lasts his 1.5/2 years, depending on when he gets canned from the Jets. But Jesus Christ, like I don't understand how, as a boss, I go to the boss and say, hey man, I did everything I was supposed to. Everyone else failed. And the boss goes, okay, makes sense. Like, what? What? How does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense. Hey, I called the perfect game plan. They're the one who messed it up. They're the one who effed it up. Not sure. Oh, okay, sure. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. So, that's true. He did, Jeff Fisher, and more comments here. Again, jumping on the YouTube live chat. Joe Branham, I still believe Fisher would make a great GM. Brought the Rams some strong talent, just couldn't coach them. Yeah, I believe he was the Todd Gurley 10th overall pick. Now, again, obviously, he didn't get to last as long as I'm sure a lot of Rams fans wanted him to last at L.A. But, yeah, Todd Gurley was fantastic. That was a risky pick at the time with the knee injury in Georgia, and he helped them get to that Super Bowl run, and then Sean McVay and everything. So, yeah. Grabbins out there, maybe that would be a role for Jeff Fisher in the future. Not with the Jets, no thank you. I know you didn't say that, but no thanks. I'm good. But Jeff Fisher's been a funny follow on Twitter. If anyone follows him there, he's a good jokester. Let's keep it going here. First off, I do want to get to this point, and this is why Adam Gase potentially could be fired earlier than we think. There's dissension already in the locker room. So when Le'Veon Bell gets straight up cut, the players, every player that did like media interviews said, shock. Wow, this. And then the quote that jumps out to me is linebacker Avery Williamson came out and said, no one's safe. And no one is safe. I'll bring up some players for the trade deadline that could be coming up for the Jets. Quinnen Williams, potentially, Marcus May, and others. But the thing I want to talk about quickly is the dissension. Greg Williams did a media opportunity this week, after Adam Gase, by the way, and was asked about the defensive issues. And here is his quote. I do want to get verbatim here for this quote. From Greg Williams. And here's what he said. when asked about the issues. He's like, it's not a very good number, and he's talking about points the Jets have given up, but it's not all defensively, Williams said after Friday's practice. And he said, as you can see, the scoring is up in the league, but it still makes me sick. When the media asked, what did you mean by not all defensive issues? Greg Williams said, well, you guys can figure that out. And then he hung up on the video conference. Awkward! Again, Greg Williams is the most likely guy to be the interim coach if Gase gets canned. But, man, these parting shots, Adam Gase could not be asked about it because he had his press conference first before Greg Williams. But he's going to be asked about that after the game, I'm sure. And yike-a-roonies, man. I just think it's just going to keep getting worse here between the two. Let's go back to Vinny here on the YouTube live chat. If Gase lasts through the season, you pick up a real head coach, AFC East will be very competitive. Here's the thing I want to say, Vinny, and I hope you feel this way. I feel this way. I hope Bills fans feel this way. I've done this for like the last bunch of years, right? The Patriots have won like every division for like the last 20 years outside of when you guys did on the tiebreaker. Chad Pennington, yes. We all remember that, don't we? But every year, I talk to my Dolphins fans that are friends and my Bills fans that are friends. We all put our hands in the middle. We're like, one of us has to win it this year, boys. And we put all our fists in the middle. I guess with COVID, we'd be 6 feet apart. We all put our fists in the middle and say, one of us has to do this, boys. The Patriots, it's enough. And obviously, more times than not, that's been an epic failure. But, yeah, I would love it. Having Tua and Darnold or Lawrence or whoever's there, unfortunately, and then Josh Allen, right? I would love a competitive AFC East. It hasn't been in a long time. But I think Brian Flores has been fantastic, candidly, from a Jets fan perspective on the Dolphins. I think they've made a lot of moves. I'm intrigued to see what else is there. Myles Gaskins is a cool thing. Devontae Parker, great story of initially being a bust and popping back up. Preston Williams, another undrafted guy you guys found. Mike Gesicki out of Penn State is fantastic. The offensive line is questionable. I love Austin Jackson. Wow, what a surprise he's been. A lot of people thought he was pretty raw coming out. Defensively, Flores is a defensive guru. He brought a lot of those Patriots guys over like Kyle Van Noy. So I'm intrigued by what the defense could be. It still needs more pieces, obviously. But no, I think this AFC East has the potential to be an awesome division, one of the best in football if the right people get in the right positions. Because, again, think about that. Tua. If you keep Darnold's still talented, but let's say you get Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen. Like, that's cool, man, as long as it's not the Patriots. If it's not the Patriots, I'm cool. But I think 100%, Vinny, that's a great point. So I think 100% we could have a competitive AFC East, and that would be really cool, quite frankly. We'll see what competent head coaches. I have a couple of great guests lined up for when the Jets eventually fire Adam Gase to talk about great head coaching possibilities, whether in college or the pros. And I'm looking forward to those chats whenever we can have them, but hopefully that's the case. Thanks for the questions, Vinny and Joe. Anyone else, drop them in the YouTube live chat. I'd appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel, and this is the first season of these Jets pre- and post-game shows. Well, let's talk about the trade deadline that's coming up. I believe that's November 3rd, and the Jets are obviously sellers at 0-5, likely to be 0-6 after this one, and then again, these are the most winnable games left on the schedule, and I don't feel great about that. Quentin Williams drew some interest this week, the former Jets number 3 overall pick, per Connor Rogers of Stick to Football. Rich Cimini echoed those comments in his column this morning, and apparently the Jets received a blockbuster offer of multiple draft picks at last year's deadline. Only 8 games into Quentin Williams' rookie year last year, the Jets said no. Now, apparently, they've gotten a lot of calls this week because, again, they believe there's a fire sale. There is not at one Jets drive. Not for everyone. There are some players who would take a massive haul. Quentin Williams, I'll tell you, if a blockbuster deal came, and I mean, I'm talking a first and more and something crazy. Again, I don't know exactly what that deal would look like, players, picks, whatever that would be involved. Unless it's that, I'm not willing to move Quentin. He's been great this year. He had the 2-sack game against the 49ers. He's been pretty stout against the run, top 10 in terms of those elite grades. Pass rush win rate, he's been up there as well. Quentin's been really good, so I'm not in the mood of just trading away talented players. I'd love to see him perform with other talented edge players around him. I think that would raise his game up even more. So unless it's a crazy blockbuster deal and someone's going over the top, which seems wild to me, and I don't know who you're referencing, Vinny. Is he out today or is he in? But make sure you comment that below and I could get it to you. But, yeah, so Quentin, again, it looks like to me, all things considered, he looks like he's going to be a star, absolutely. So, Quinnen, yes, I've heard nothing that Quinnen would be out today. I don't think he was even on the latest injury report outside of questionable, I believe. So I think he's good to go. I haven't heard anything otherwise for that on Quinnen. And he's been terrific against both the run and the pass. He's been fantastic. So Quinnen, but he was in trade talks this week. Again, I wouldn't imagine it unless it was a blockbuster deal. Again, something so outside the box. Sam Darnold, of course, is out of this game, but there's been trade talk among the media people about Darnold being traded midseason. That don't make no sense, folks. Here's why it doesn't make sense, for a lot of reasons. First off, Sam Darnold, there's no guarantee the Jets are going to have the number 1 pick. Again, the Jets suck. They are the worst team in football. It's not close. Look at the point differentials. Like, they are bad. The Falcons have talent. The Giants have talent. They're going to win games. The Jets are not going to win games. So, but it would be the most Jetsy thing ever to trade Darnold for whatever you could get for him. Again, I think his value would be greater in the offseason anyway. But again, you trade Darnold, and what if you don't end up with the number 1 pick? Then what do? You're boned. You've got nothing. You've got nothing. So that would make absolutely no sense to me to trade Darnold. If Darnold's going to get traded, the only way I see it is the Jets end up with the number 1 pick, and they flip Darnold for a late 1, a 2 and a 3, a 2 and a 4. Like, there has to be something else there, okay? Josh Rosen and Vinny, you'll know, you guys gave up a 2 and a 5 for Josh Rosen, and he showed like nothing. It was just he was a top 10 pick, so it was worth a flyer to maybe find a guy. But the Jets, I think, could get even more than that for Darnold, quite frankly. But it makes no sense. Zero. Nada. Nothing. No sense whatsoever to trade Darnold mid-season. There's no guarantee you get the number 1 pick. And even if you did get the number 1 pick, again, there's only been 2 teams in NFL history that have been 0-16. It's the Browns and the Lions. There will not be multiple 0-16 teams this year, despite what people say. But even if there were, the Jets would lose the strength of schedule tiebreaker. And wouldn't that be the most Jets thing ever? As you go 0-16, you still don't get Trevor Lawrence. Wouldn't that suck? But anywho, I believe ultimately those guys are going to win some games, so it's not going to matter anyway. But you don't trade Darnold because there's no guarantee. Doesn't make any sense. You trade him in the offseason, potentially, if you end up with the number 1 pick. 2 more players I want to quickly bring up. Marcus Mason, the final year of his deal. This could be a la Leonard Williams situation last year when they flipped him for a 3 and a 5 at the trade deadline. Marcus Mason, the last year of his deal, he's looking to get paid. The Jets have Ashton Davis, who's waiting in the wings. Marcus Mason started off this season terrific, looking like Jamal Adams 2.0. He has not been that since, but maybe you can flip him for a 3 and a 5, a 2 and a 5, something in that ballpark. There may be a team willing to risk it to get the biscuit. So keep an eye out for that on Marcus May. The one player I wouldn't trade, Chris Herndon, he's been a uber disappointment this year for the New York Jets, but he's talented. He still has another year on his rookie deal after this year. And Vinny, another guy you'll know because he played at Miami. Again, he's very talented, but if you flipped him at the deadline, you're selling low, and he's probably a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. If that, maybe a 6 or 7. To me, I'd rather keep him. A new coaching staff comes in. Let's see what they could get out of him. They could get nothing, you move on. But I would love to see Chris Herndon with a competent coaching staff. But he's done himself no favors. Fumbles, drops. He's just been god-awful. There's no other way to put it. That's been my biggest swing and a miss in terms of predictions this offseason. Said, wow, Chris Herndon could be a secret weapon to the New York Jets and be one of the better tight ends in football. He hasn't even been one of the better tight ends on the football team for the Jets, who are winless. So, yike-a-roonies. All right, everybody, if you have any more questions, drop them below. We got Jets, Dolphins. That's coming up at 4:05 today. And as soon as the game ends, come right back here for Play Like a Jet Show. We'll do our post-game show after the final whistle. Again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Appreciate all the support we've been getting for this Play Like a Jet Zone show. We're only going to get bigger and better every week we go through the season. Thanks for all the support. And I got to tell you, guys, I do want to give a shout-out to guys like Vinny. Doing these pregame shows, I didn't expect a lot of fans of the opposing team to jump in. It happened in the Broncos game. It happened in some of the Bills fans earlier, giving good back and forth with questions, comments, and kind of talking about the game. So that was a surprise to me. I didn't know we were going to get that kind of interaction from fans of the other team coming in the pregame show. So that's been a pleasant surprise. So thank you to guys like Vinny and Tom and others that have come in from the opposing team to jump in and hash in on this pregame show. It's a lot of fun for me, and I appreciate all the interaction from you guys. So anywho, One more shout out. Play Like a Jet, so weekly New York Jets pre and post game show on YouTube Live. Appreciate all the support. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell for all our notifications for all our live videos, and we will see you after the game. Jets Dolphins. Will the Jets get their first win of the season? That is up to what we will see for this game. We'll check it out. Joe Flacco will be there. Brashad Perriman expected back for this game. Jamison Crowder is there. And then what do they do with the running backs? Frank Gore, former Miami Dolphin as well. Prediction for Flacco's stats today. Now, interesting, Vinny, and you would know this better than anyone. Joe Flacco is 6-0 in his career against the Miami Dolphins. Historically, no matter where he's been slicing and dicing the Miami Dolphins. I think he's a little better than he was last week. I think last week he had like 190 yards and an interception. To me, I think Joe Flacco is going to be a little bit more in his game. He hadn't played in a year before the game last week, which is his first start for the New York Jets with Sam Darnold out. I would expect the Dolphins have good corners. Byron Jones and Xavier Howard are 1-2 punch that not a lot of people talk about at corner. I would probably eat over the middle of the field as opposed to testing the boundary personally. I would use guys like Chris Herndon. I'd use guys like Jamison Crowder over the middle. I'll say for Joe, maybe 250 yards, 2 touchdowns for Joe Flacco. He is prone to making turnovers, so you could kind of get him. And Brian Flores, again, is a defensive guru. I would not be surprised if he's throwing the kitchen sink at Joe Flacco. But again, that history of 6-0, does it mean anything? Because Brian Flores is new. This Dolphins team is new. Joe Flacco's in a new spot. Can that record hold? I don't know, but I think Joe Flacco ends up with 250-plus and 2 touchdowns. I do believe he'll get a little bit of that action, and I believe the Jets are going to be behind a lot of the game. The defense has had a lot of issues this year for the Jets. Their run game has been gashed by those big-time opportunities. Could certainly see that moving forward. All right, God, thank you, Vinny, for the questions, and Joe for the questions. Those were great. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much, and we'll see you after the game, everybody. See you then, and we'll see what we're talking about. A Jets win or another Jets loss? We'll find out. All right, thanks, everybody.